Welcome to Real Love Caribbean Style, the show which celebrates love and the pursuit of love. I'm your host, Denise J Charles. Now, some of you may know that I am an absolute sucker for romance. I absolutely love romance. I've read so many romance novels. Right now, I have a blog about love and relationships. And many of us have very traditional beliefs and expectations about love based on the things we learned about when we were children, you know, Cinderella, Snow White, things like that. But in today's 21st century age, so much has changed with respect to love. We live in an instant age. You know, we get so many things at the drop of a hat, at the touch of a button, at the swipe of a screen. How have those things impacted our relationships? Are we expecting instant love? Are we willing to take the time to groom love, to watch it grow and flourish into something beautiful? These and many more ideas we're going to be discussing on Real Love Caribbean Style. What do you know about love? Let's take it to the streets.
The main one, loving, and trust. I guess somebody positive, you can encourage them with their dreams again.
A man wants someone to love him and treat him right, and someone to be there for him, because that's how God made it, for a woman to be next to a man, to be a helper.
In a relationship,
Yes, please.
honesty, trust, stability. If you're family oriented, that's pretty much household that you could be the provider to one woman, children.
Truth and women, love, affection, yeah. Cause men just be caring. But sometimes it's get a bit typical for men and just go overboard, get vexed, you understand?
The truth is, sometimes men is get miserable at times, right? They want to be loved, but still can't accept it from a woman.
Well, in everything, I guess what you want in life is truthfulness, honesty, sincerity, and then it come forward again to that fundamental word again, which is love.
I believe that what men really want is honesty, trust, and more communication, and everything. It's not all about money, you know.
Me, I like intelligent women. I like good conversation. It'd be helpful if you're pretty too. That'd be nice. But I think more than anything else, men want good, solid relationships.
I believe men want to be wanted, to be loved, to be cherished, and to want to feel that their partner loves them for who they are.
First thing first, a real man is want a good woman, right? And when it's a real man, manhood is maturity. A man becomes a man when he has the ability to think like one.
Well, I know what man want, but I know what I want. See me, no right. When it comes to love, I don't have much about it. I'm a last man, I'm last, because I believe I'm too young for love. But what I want, man want loyalty. You understand? Commitment, attention. You want a girl that you talk to and then another man run up to she and sweet talk she and she gone. Man really want loyalty.
Let's go under the covers with our couple this evening. A very interesting and exciting couple. Let's welcome Imran and Davvida Richards.
Hey, thank you so much for having us.
It's great to have you in the house this evening.
Definitely great to be under the covers.
Yes. Well, Imran and Davvida, they're going to tell us how long they've been married. How long have you been together?
We've been together for 10 years, married for 8 years. August the 4th, we just celebrated our 8th anniversary.
Fantastic.
Fantastic.
Well, Imran is a youth advocate and an international speaker. I know he does motivational speaking. He loves to work with young people, and Davvida often accompanies him on his travels. He travels quite a bit. And I know you're both involved in youth ministry at your church.
Yes.
Yeah, so I know you're going to bring a rich set of experiences this evening as we discuss this whole issue of love and the pursuit of love in the 21st century. I mean, what brought you two together?
It's it's interesting, and Davvida and we were talking before. I saw her at a youth camp in 2004, so this is like back in the day, 2000 actually, and I remember like I saw her and I was like, I'm gonna marry that girl. Like she is beautiful. I was like, who is this girl? The entire camp happened, a week-long camp, and to this day, Davvida cannot remember me being at the camp. So I am head over heels, you know. I was like, who is this girl? And she did not even know that I was there. Fast forward a few years later, we are back at another camp, and this time we are placed in the same group. We had to do a drama together, so no, she couldn't ignore me.
Everything together, I had to know this.
She couldn't ignore me this time.
And what drew you to him? I
mean, when I met Imran, well, that time in the group, when I met him, I was just like, this guy, he is so nice. He was extremely nice. He was humble, and you could see his love for the Lord. Like, just from the get-go, you knew that he loved God. You knew that he was funny, relatable, and to be honest, from that moment, I had a crush on him.
Wow. So it was kind of a mutual attraction that built from there. I mean, do you think you were already prepared for marriage? We see so many marriages on the rocks today. We see so many challenges. Do you think that you were really prepared to get married? When you did?
Yeah. I wouldn't say that we were adequately prepared, maybe sufficiently. Because I don't know that anybody can be actually ready, you know. What I think is important though, definitely preparation process, counseling, we both did that and so forth. But I feel like once you actually get married now and you begin to experience those real life circumstances and challenges, having a community there to support you, I think that's where the rubber begins to hit the road.
Yeah, it's so great that you have touched on that, because when I was preparing for this show, I thought of that notion that it takes a village to raise a child, and I try to transfer it to marriage. To what extent do you think your marriage has thrived, or to what extent do you think marriages need a community to help it thrive and help it to grow?
Yeah, I definitely believe that you need a community. Like, no one can exist by themselves. Like, you know, in marriage, even if you think that you're prepared, even if you have pre-marital counseling, all those different things like that, I really get into a marriage is only then that you know what you actually possess. And being in a community with others who've walked the way before, whether they did it successfully or not, enables you to then know what you need to do. And even you don't want to make the same mistakes that people make, so you find out what to do, and that helps you.
Yeah, I think too, like, realizing that you are not alone. You know, that there are other people going through similar challenges, they're dealing with similar circumstances, because oftentimes, you know, when you're navigating relationships by yourself and you had an argument, you feel like this is the worst marriage ever. But then when you hear other people talk about you,
I know.
That bad.
I remember when my husband and I got married, you know, very similarly, we were in a community of other married couples, and you know, they met regularly once a month, and that helped us tremendously, because it helped us to realize, it helped me to realize, well, I'm not crazy after all. Men really do have a problem. Just kidding. You know, but I recognize that many men struggle with the same issues, many women struggle with the same issues, and that helped me put things in perspective.
And the space to talk about that becomes important. So like, we've been privileged, like now, like in the last couple of, maybe the last year or so, we've been part of a community that we meet on a regular basis. We do fun activities together, but we also have serious conversations. We invite people in to come and to talk to us about marriage, and for me it's been liberating. You need that accountability, you need that support, you need that encouragement.
Excellent. I love the idea of accountability. And how has that been for you as a man? Because I know when it comes to accountability, we women, we are very good with connecting with others. You know, we have our best friend who we cry on their shoulders, we share everything. We tend not to hide because of our socialization. But when it comes to men, you know, you guys have the macho thing going on. You don't want to be vulnerable to another man. How does accountability work when a man has to connect with other men?
Yeah, no, accountability is super important, because for me personally, I feel like I had to get over myself very early. You know what I mean? Like, when I think about our marriage, I feel like I've made a million mistakes. And if it were not for me being able to be honest with various men that I trust, and I believe, you know, those individuals have gone before me, they're ahead of me, and I can draw on their wisdom, draw on their experience, but also be open and honest with them about my shortcomings and my feelings, and say, look, I need you to call me and ask me the hard questions. I need you to reach out to me and say, Imran, how you're handling your flesh, you know,
Yes.
how you dealing with your eyes,
How you dealing with other women,
how
you
dealing with
know,
other
that are
women.
attractive.
Yeah, of course, yeah. Ask me the hard questions.
Yeah.
And I remember there were times when I would call like one or two of my accountability. I was like, "Why you don't call me?"
Yes.
Like, why check up on me, big man? Like,
Yeah.
you need to check up on me.
But that is powerful, and I think that comes from having a particular value base.
Yeah.
Because when we think of marriage and the failure of many couples to prepare, or the failure of some men to be prepared for the lifetime commitment that marriage is, I think that if you don't have that value base where you want to be accountable to someone, you know, some people want to have their cake and eat it too. So they want to be married, but they still want to be able to pursue other women or other men.
Yeah.
But when you understand that, I think that value base empowers you.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Yeah.
I agree, and it's been solid for me. And like I said, it wasn't an easy thing, but it was coming back to I gotta do the right thing and not the popular thing.
Excellent.
You know,
I love that.
and digging deep to make sure that I do it.
You know, when I started out, I spoke about the traditions and the romantic novels and those things that we ladies tend to have been raised on. And 20, 30, 40 years ago, certain things were almost expected in a love relationship. Now we're smack dab in the middle of a digital age where everything is instant. You know, this idea of courting a woman for a long time and winning her heart over and sending her flowers and that type of thing might be a bit antiquated to some people, you know. How has the now age, the digital age, and the instant love and the Instagrams and all that type of thing, has that impacted the way we negotiate relationships, and particularly marriage? Because I want to look at it from the perspective of marriage.
For a lot of people see a lot of social media, like Instagram and Facebook, those things. We see them as negative. We say, oh, you know, this could ruin your marriage. But for me, I use those things as I find it positive in it. So I look at other couples who are on Instagram, not necessarily of how the women are dressing outside, I would feel intimidated, but I look for their advice. Like, as I said, they've been there before. So I would listen to a lot of ladies, what they would do for their husbands. Even sometimes, my husband may not tell me something. He may not say, Davvida, when you say this, it hurts me. But I'm in a session, I'm listening to other married women and men, and I'm going to hear them say, you know, when my wife doesn't give me a compliment, when I do such and such, it hurts me. So I'm like, you know what? Maybe with him too. Yeah. So
It's like an entry point for you to have a discussion.
Yeah, I'm able to have a discussion, but kind of like gives you the home court advantage, because now I kind of know what's in his mind. So I could, you know, please him a bit more. It's a little easier to please him. So for me, I use social media for that. And then just with technology, as we know, Imran travels a lot.
Yes.
So technology for me is a
plus.
It's a plus because I'm able to communicate with him a lot more. So I try not to look at technology as a negative, kind of negative word.
I love that, because you're in the information age. It's not going to get any less. I mean, it's going to get more. It's here for good.
And I think what Davvida has said is really phenomenal, because then what we've done is that we've also implemented various values to ensure that we manage technology well.
Excellent. I love
So when we go out, we know that you either leave your phones in the car or you have them turned down on the table. Now for me, my phone goes off constantly, so I know leave the phone in the car.
Yeah, it's a safe thing to do.
Yeah, I leave the phone in the car because we've implemented a lot of our values after challenges, after arguments, after quarrels, you know. So our values, our family values came out of this
connected to real life issues.
Connected to real life issues. So we said, how do we navigate these challenges? Because the video would get upset, you know, and we can take pictures of our food, but then we can be, you know, on our phones and instead of looking in each other's eyes and so forth. So navigating that was really, really important. The other thing, I think that, like, for me, was maybe an issue is, like, there were times when after a certain hour people would still be messaging me.
Okay, so you have a cutoff point.
Yeah, so no,
you're creating a cutoff point.
Yeah.
So that's
really
okay. So we've taken the notion of boundaries, which would exist in any age, really, in any century. We've made it relevant in the 21st century, where we really have to enforce boundaries because of the immediacy of technology and, you know, the swipe and the touch of a phone. You're connected to someone.
And you know, one of the points I really want to make on this is how Instagram has, because Instagram and different social media platforms, what they've done is that they have kind of, you know, their highlight reels. And so we compare our worst moments to people's best moments on Instagram.
So we have to use the knowledge to empower us, but not allow it to pigeonhole us.
Because you could be looking through Instagram and Facebook and get depressed, thinking, well, look at that person and their relationship, and you're thinking about your challenge and your issues, but you don't realize that those persons aren't posting their challenges and their issues.
That's right. It's not a necessarily an authentic experience that is being shared.
And so you always have to keep that in mind, you know. Keep it in this right perspective.
Excellent point. Now I'm going to go to the most exciting question for the evening for you guys. How important is sex in your relationship? And I want the whole truth.
Scale of 1 to 10, 45.
Okay.
Very important. Very, very important.
Can I hear you, Davvida? Because I know sex in many respects is still very taboo, and you tend to hear a lot that men want sex, men crave sex. What about us women? How has it been for you in this relationship? How important is sex?
Well, to be honest, I can't necessarily relate to the whole taboo of women, you know, the whole notion, of women not being able to really enjoy sex, and you know, it's more for men. And
that's not your story. Right.
I enjoy sex.
Props to Imran.
I definitely do enjoy sex, and I believe it's something that should be enjoyed by both persons. You know, it should never be something tedious for me as a wife, or something that my husband has to beg me for. I think it's something that we both enjoy. And
excellent. Imran, how's it been like for you?
You know, one of the things that Davvida said to me specifically, because I enjoy sex, I love sex, but she said something to me a while back. We got into an argument very early in our marriage, and she was like, do you want to have sex? You know, and
do you want to have sex or do you want to argue?
Yeah, essentially.
Do you want to have sex while arguing?
But then I think it was right after she was like, you know, Imran, like, sometimes I don't always feel like I do my best in your relationship, but I feel like sex takes us to levels of intimacy that we don't experience otherwise, and I never want to lose that. I never want us to lose that. And for me,
that was like, oh,
yeah, but even on that too, sometimes you may find that you and your partner, you're bickering a lot. Like, just, you might
make up sex? Do you believe in that?
Yeah, I believe in any type of sex. Right? So, I honestly...
I love that answer, and I'm sure your husband loves it too.
I love it.
You know, and I think what is so important about what you said is the fact that sex adds to the intimacy of the relationship, and it takes the intimacy level to another level. You know, and I think you can only get better from there. You know, you can only build on that. Thank you so much.
We can talk about so many different things.
I am sure, and there's more conversation to come. I am sure, but I want to thank you so much for joining us here on Real Love Caribbean Style. You're watching Real Love Caribbean Style. We're moving into our segment, Singles Say. We cannot have a discussion about love, sex, and relationships without talking to those who may not yet be in a permanent relationship, or those who may be still pursuing love, you know, looking for that special someone. We have as our very special guest this evening, Adam Brown and Abigail Brown. What do you think about that? They're not married, but Adam is a young, upcoming entrepreneur, multi-talented. I know he does DJ music. I know he has a very successful landscape business. And we have Abigail, who is into sales and marketing. Thank you so much for agreeing to be a part of our show.
Thanks for having us.
Yes.
It's a pleasure.
Yes. Now, I know that you're two beautiful looking young people, handsome, beautiful women. How has it been like for you out there? I don't want to use the term on the market, but you understand what I mean. You know, there's so much out there about relationships today. How has it been for you, this pursuit of love?
I think straight off the back I want to say rough, but I'm going to say it's definitely been a learning experience. You know, you meet different people, and with each experience you learn about people, you learn about yourself. So a bit of a roller coaster ride, you know, makes you sit and wonder what's happening sometimes, but Definitely welcoming to all the experiences. I'd say it's fun.
Okay, it's been fun for you.
Yeah.
A bit of a rough patch, but still fun.
I mean, when I say rough, I just mean, there are people who are in long-lasting relationships and you sometimes wonder, well, what is why is this not happening?
Yeah.
But in the grand scheme of things, it's fun to get to meet people constantly and go out and have new experiences, however positive or negative it may be.
Okay.
The overall experience of dating
It's
is fun.
something that you can learn from, something that can help make you a better person.
And something that can be enjoyable.
Exactly. Okay, Adam, how has it been for you? I'm almost afraid to ask this question, but how has it been for you?
I'm afraid to answer. I agree with Abigail. It's been rough, but maybe not as eloquent as she put it, but rough as in very, very rough. Plenty of volcanic activity. But again, I think that has come through choices.
Okay, you took the word.
I think that has come through choices, and hopefully in the pursuit of happiness, the choices will get better based on the lessons learned, and I hope that someday.
Okay, so what is it that you are looking for? You're not currently in a permanent long-term relationship. Well, yeah. What is it exactly that Adam is looking for? Who would be Adam's ideal mate?
I got to spend some time on Google.
Okay, well, just give me the bullet points this evening.
The bullet points basically from my background and how I was raised, I would just have to go to Proverbs 31.
Okay.
That is the complete perfect woman right there in Proverbs 31.
Do you think she exists?
A few of them.
Okay.
I don't.
You just haven't met her.
I just haven't met her yet. But I mean, if I was to meet her now, I probably won't recognize her because I don't think that I'm the right man.
So you spun right into what I was going to ask, because I was going to say the Proverbs 31 woman. For those who may not know, the virtuous woman who has so many beautiful qualities. I think she probably had next to her a very great man. Absolutely. And very often, and I'm going to come back to you on that, very often we talk about finding the one, and we don't spend enough time talking about being the one. Mm-hmm. Abigail, what do you think about the narrative? What can we do? I know you're a woman, so you're going to speak from the perspective of a woman. What can a woman do to help herself be that special person?
I think, Denise, it's twofold. It really comes down to self-development and self-awareness.
Yes.
And you can't.
Excellent answers, right?
The world is changing. We're changing. Our role as a woman in society is changing.
Yeah.
I would consider myself a career-driven woman.
Yeah.
So I'm always on the move, always on the hustle. And how am I constantly improving? It's okay to say I want these qualities in a man, like Adam would have said. Am I that woman to receive those qualities? How am I supplementing? How am I filling his cup? Where am I falling short? And that can only come through self-development. I find in the Caribbean society in Barbados, we seem to be afraid of counseling and talking, but that's all a part of development. As human beings, we are tied to our inner child still, and we don't know what traumas may be trapped in there or what we need to heal to be the person that we need to be for our spouse. Like, we enter relationships expecting our partner to know how to love us, and that's not always the case. They know how to love how they expect love, and we know how to love how we expect love.
That's right.
But now you have two people who are loving very differently, coming together, trying to make this work. And in the dating, I understand if you're married for years and it's a work in progress, but in the dating realm, it's hard to even get to that stage, because most people, when the going gets tough, it's like, nice knowing you, cause
the tough get going, I'm gone.
Because Susie keep waiting in my DMs, and that's just the reality of the situation. So for me, again, it comes down to self-development, introspection, taking some time out to, again, accountability. Where did I mess up in this situation? Oftentimes in the dating world, when things go downhill, you're like, he did this and he did this, but
are we willing to look at ourselves?
Exactly. How did you contribute to the situation?
That's
and
right.
for everyone who believes that they didn't, I got news for you.
You did.
Yeah. There's no way that you can be separated from the situation entirely. So, yeah, it's just it's constant work.
That's powerful. I want to stick a pin there, because I want to get from Adam that sense of how do you, as a man, look at yourself in terms of what you need to bring to the relationship table. Yeah, because I know you probably spend some time thinking about, my ideal woman. But what do you need to do for you?
I think I need I need a lot more patience, right? A lot more long suffering, because my fuse like this short, right? Especially for foolishness. But I think a lot more discipline in certain areas in my life where I've been, running wild for years. But I think more discipline in those areas along with the other part, I think that's a good place to start. That's not the finish, but that's a starting point for me.
Yeah, that's excellent. And I want to tie back something that Abigail said, because Abigail spoke about, someone just sending you an instant message or something like that. And we know that the context of our world today has changed, and it has impacted marriages, and obviously it's impacting the way we do dating, it's impacting how we negotiate, learning new people, and so on. To what extent do you think social media is playing a part in people perhaps having surface type relationships? Do you think that we're so caught up with having the right pictures and looking the right way that we fail to go beneath the surface to really learn somebody? Can you really learn who somebody is from just that social media introduction?
I don't think so, because everything with this social media thing is all about the glitter and the glamour and the superficial. And then you take the girl home and she go undo a belly strap and wash off 10 pounds of makeup, and you know what I mean? And she got on 12-inch heels, and then you realize that she only about 4'4". You know what I mean? Your initial perception or what you saw when you started following her is gone. So your emotions started up here, and then somewhere down there on the ground now you gotta sweep them up. But me personally, I hate social media. I think it's made society more stupid, right? From an aesthetic standpoint, right? I don't like it. I use it for business. I don't go past WhatsApp. Only now because I have my business made official and stuff. I open a business page on Instagram. I don't like it. I still like writing letters. I still like talking on the landline.
You still have that old-fashioned.
Yeah,
that's great.
Walking on the boardwalk. I still like that personal connection. As you start video calling me and that kind of sending me, sliding in my DMs and saying, hi, how are you? Like, pick up the phone and call me.
Yes, okay.
Right? Like,
that's a great perspective coming from a young man.
I don't like it. That's just my personal thing.
Okay,
if you're a busy woman that travels, I mean, I can understand.
Yes.
Right? You had to say, well, how are you going into a meeting? How are you run out of a meeting? That back and forth. But for
your regular,
for my regular lines of communication,
you don't prefer it. You
Nah.
don't prefer it. Yeah. How do you see it? Because perhaps you can see the good in it and how it can be maybe used for a good purpose.
I love social media.
You love it. Okay, great. It's great having those opposing perspectives.
I love social media. I'm gonna touch on what Adam said about the waist strap and just go back to say women in the 80s wore corsets. So I mean, I wouldn't attribute that to modern day or social media living. Makeup. I mean, sure, it's highlighted more, no pun intended, because of our social media. But I don't want to say
for centuries.
Exactly, right? You can't. I don't think if social media did not exist, makeup would not exist, or a waist strap would not exist. But that being said, I love it because it's convenient.
But I think he's talking about the false image that you can create. And then when you meet the real person, it's
which is acceptable. But I don't think social media necessarily
has done that.
Exactly. That being said though,
it's okay to disagree.
I love social media because it's instant, and it's there. So I may be busy, I am on the go, and I can't always take your call, but send me a message, and there's nothing that brightens my day more after a busy meeting to come out and see, hey cutie, what's up?
Right? Okay.
That brightens my day.
So it can have its positives. It can have its positives. But how do you...
I don't mind that part. Don't get me wrong. But for long extended conversations and then to talk about things that are personal or to talk about things that are intimate. You know, that just ain't. No, I want to hear your
And there's
voice.
nothing wrong with either of the perspectives. And I think what is most interesting is that you're both young people and you have these diverse perspectives. I think what is even more important in the context of a relationship is to bring this feeling to your relationship, let your partner know, because you might find that you're attracted to someone or you get into a relationship with someone who doesn't see it that way, and vice versa. And it's then needing to bring that balance to how you're going to navigate your lives together as a couple while having these diverse opinions.
But it's not a core principle of mine, so it's something I could compromise on.
Thank
right? I could be hi QD, what's up? I could send those messages. I could send you 50 good morning messages at 5 o'clock when I getting ready to go to work because she's not up yet. You know, I could do all of that.
Yeah,
that's fine. But as far as the more intimate,
I understand,
personal conversations go, that's face to face.
And I could agree with that.
Phone call.
But I think like social media has its place, like Adam is trying to say.
It's about just putting it in the right perspective.
Exactly.
Now, when we talk about relationships, we cannot divorce the reality of our upbringing, our socialization, what our parents expose us to. I want you both to tell me, how much have your expectations about love and relationships been influenced by your parents or by your peers or by other influences? You told me you're from India. You know, how has that impacted your search for love in a place like Barbados?
Yes, I'm from India. I moved to Barbados when I was 16. So I actually lived my half of my life in India.
Yes.
And then to make matters worse, I moved to England where I studied, and then I moved back to Barbados. So I really am this multicultural hot pot. But in two things, they're very different cultures. What happens in India and what happens here, to be honest, I don't even know if dating exists in this context in India because everything is so arranged and premeditated. And when you date for marriage. You're not dating to get to know
check people out
or see what your options are. You're dating for marriage. When you date someone for marriage, you know, your families have to be aligned, and you have to make sure that everything is connected because the goal is to get married. And things are very different here in Barbados.
That's okay.
In the Caribbean, and you know, you get to know people and meet people, and you decide if you want to take it to the level where you are considering a long-term relationship, marriage, whatever the case may be. But that being said, I don't think anything is the same from like what our parents experienced versus what we're experiencing in the dating world today.
And therefore, you know, that lends itself to us needing to perhaps apply different skills to navigate in our relationships and getting to that point of perhaps a committed relationship, because we're doing it a lot differently from how they did it. And Adam, I want you to weigh in there. I mean, how are we doing it differently today than our parents, and how did your upbringing impact the choices you make today?
Chalk and cheese.
So you're the rebellious one.
Yeah.
You're going in the opposite direction.
In the opposite direction, yes, but in recent history, I would say like maybe last 5 years or so, I started to go back to what I know, because what I tried to invent just don't work.
Yes.
Right? And
so train up a child has been working with you. That verse.
Yeah.
You're being impacted by the values of your parents.
Very much so. And what used to happen is proven and tested, and it works. Right? Different cultures have different things, as she was saying. But for Barbados, where I've lived my whole life, I think it is going to serve me well. I mean, I haven't wrapped my brain around all of those things as yet, but you know, I'm trained. I'm trained. So give me credit for that. Small step forward. But yeah, I am kind of old-fashioned in my own self. I like a lot of antiques and a lot of things like I core values that I have, not necessarily things I do, but core values that I have are quite, you know, prehistoric, I guess. To say.
So I think what you're saying is that even though you're young and you're living in the 21st century Barbados, you understand the value of those core values that your parents, grandparents, whatever would have passed on to you.
Absolutely.
You can see the worth in them.
Yeah, I mean, everybody in my family is married for 40 plus years, so they must be doing something right, right? So And it's not to say that they didn't make mistakes or they didn't have huge arguments, and you know, all those things are part of a marriage, I guess. But the way they've been able to navigate those turbulent waters has basically been, you know, sticking to that kind of.
So you've learned something.
I've learned
from watching that.
I've learned a lot, and you would know that I stick very close to my mother, and a gentleman that I consider to be my father.
Yes.
But I embrace their philosophy, and because it's been proven.
Excellent question. Excellent question.
We've been talking to Adam and Abigail Brown. No relation, not connected, but they've been showing some very interesting perspectives on what it's like to be single in Barbados while still hot on the trot.
You're watching Real Love Caribbean Style.
Welcome back. We are at our final segment of this evening's show, and it promises to be great fun. Just a little fun game. How well do you know your relationship? So I'm going to hand right now Imran and Davvida just 6 questions, and they're going to have 60 seconds to answer. All right, guys, don't look yet. Now we're ready. And now to our answers. We're going to find out how well our guests know their relationship. Number 1, which side of the bed does your partner prefer to sleep on?
I have the left.
Is that true?
I have, depends on which angle you're looking at. I have the side closest to the door, because when we travel, like wherever we go, wherever side is closest to the door, Imran will sleep on that side.
Okay,
that's me for sure.
Are y'all right?
Yeah, she's right. For sure.
Okay. Question number 2. If you had to buy your spouse a gift from among these 3, which would he or she prefer? Him, a pair of designer shoes, an expensive liqueur, or a good book. For her, a designer fragrance, a pair of diamond earrings, a weekend getaway.
Weekend getaway for her for sure.
Yeah, a good book for him.
Okay,
that's me.
And that's true, right?
That's me. Yeah.
Which one of these would you prefer for yourself?
Weekend getaway.
Weekend getaway.
But for sure.
Okay, good. So you were right.
Yeah.
Question number 4. What's your spouse's shoe size?
10.
9.5.
Mine is 9.5.
Oh, yeah, yes. 10?
Right.
Yes.
Okay, great. So you obviously buy shoes for each other.
Yes. All the time.
What is your spouse most afraid of?
Snakes.
That is very true. Very true. Imran, failure?
Yes.
Okay, good. Failure.
Did you have that?
Well, we didn't have to.
We didn't have. I wrote it for her. I didn't write it for me. But failure is definitely.
Okay, so you're right.
Failure.
Yeah.
And I've expressed that to her on numerous things. So
And he was right that you're most afraid of snakes.
Yep.
Or Disney World.
Going good so far. Which food, our last question, which food would your partner absolutely not eat?
Imran eats everything, so I put nothing.
Okay.
Everything.
Is that true?
I've eaten alligator, beer. I've eaten everything, so it's true. Beer.
Okay, and what about her?
I have seafood or pork.
Yep.
Excellent. So you did really well.
Yeah.
You know each other. You know this relationship. Absolutely wonderful.
You're watching Real Love Caribbean Style.
And that brings us to the end of our final segment. And our couple, they really do know each other well. Let's say congratulations to them. And that's a wrap for Real Love Caribbean Style. We want to thank our guests, Imran and Davvida Richards, and Abigail Brown and Adam Brown for sharing so openly with us on this evening's show. Remember, you can follow me on Instagram at Denise J Charles. You can subscribe to my YouTube channel, Living with Dr. Denise J Charles. And you can follow my relationship blog, lovestory246.wordpress.com. Thanks so much for joining us. See you soon.